What's up, beautiful peeps and Facebook Live? I am here with my good man, my client, my friend. My clients actually end up becoming friends. I'm just going to give a few seconds to for people to kind of jump on the call. We're talking about how to F up your relationships quickly, how to F them up fast. And I'm here with my main man, Billy Lutz here, who is a healer of sorts, using nutrition, using tools that help. He's with his little doggy there. Billy, I just want to welcome you on. We're going to be talking about how to quickly. We just did a client call. We're in the middle of a client call, and I just thought, oh my God, this is going to help a lot of people not F up their effing relationships. So Billy, I want you to share what impact that you've had, that it's had, how you've been effing up your relationships as of late, and go ahead and share that. Tell me what insight that you just had during our client call right now. For those of you, before you go on, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Dr.Nima Rahmany. I'm a chiropractor and a mental optimization coach. I help professionals struggling with stress, anxiety, depression in personal and relational, and help them transition and have their best year ever. So with that being said, please, Billy, why don't you share what you've just what we just uncovered, and what the patterns that you usually do that F up your relationships in your past.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a huge discovery. We really just honed in on what is causing my relationship, and it's basically something that I'm starting before I even get into a relationship. And It all happened from my first relationship, where I was in a relationship that wasn't congruent. I wasn't being present, and it wasn't really the best thing for me. So after about 2 years, the relationship was about 3.5. Instead of taking the incentive to stop the relationship, I continued to be in it. I became an asshole, and I started my, as we call it, my self-sabotage of the relationship. So I was causing these incidences to happen. And so after that, the reason I did that, it ended up pulling me out of the relationship, and, quickly, right? And quite an intense ending, which caused me to be back to myself, right? So then I think that in my next relationship, the relationship's only going to last 2 years. So I already have this pre-programmed, notion in my head that 2.5 years is the relationship max. Then you get miserable. So I'm going in already starting to sabotage. And I already have sabotage in my brain, so that once I start to get out of congruency, or the relationship isn't working, or it's not the right thing, I immediately can cause that to happen. And I can bounce right back and out and be free. So, I mean,
shit. Hold on. Talk about telling the truth. Talk about telling the truth right there. Is, you know what? I just cause and so why do you do that, Billy? Share why you would do that. All of a sudden things aren't working, and then what do you do and why?
Yeah, so I mean, really, like,
yeah,
that everything just, if the relationship isn't congruent, or even if it is congruent, and, I just have this built up story that relationships only last a certain period of time, and it's finite. And after that finite period, you really get, it gets boring, and you have to be, incongruent. And so in order for me to get back to be feeling like myself, step into my dark passenger, which is part player, I cause that destruction into the relationship. I bring it all in, and what does that happen? A catastrophic ending, and then boom.
Then you do what?
Catapulted into dark passenger city. So
then you start going, then you start getting that freak on, right? So okay, the reason why I wanted to share this is we're just in the middle of a client call, and it was just the eureka moment. Because what did you notice? Like, what prompted this session was that you found yourself, you're in a 2-year relationship right now with a wonderful gal.
Right.
Is it 2 years?
2 years. Yeah, a little over 2 years.
2 years. And you just discovered that you're falling into that same pattern again.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
you called, we were in the, Billy's in my Powerfully Aligned Mastermind program, and he's been kind of leveling himself up consistently for the past couple months. He's made some dramatic shifts with his relationships, not only with his relationship currently, but with his relationship with himself and his business. And so what happened was he called and he basically said, I'm finding that everything's going good. And then when I start to get a little tired, all of a sudden those thoughts start coming back, and we found where it came from.
Right.
So where did we go? We went to an earlier scene, because everything that you go through, the people listening, I want you to think about it. As you're listening, I want you to look at yourself and Billy. Billy, first of all, mad props to you for getting real and being so authentic. I mean, that's really what it's about. The truth sets you free. First, it kind of embarrasses you and pisses the shit out of you.
but then you get addicted to the truth.
Totally. You totally get addicted to kind of expanding on that truth. And so what we discovered was this pattern that you came. Where was the first event that really spurred it on, that really started you on this path of this pattern of being the relationship saboteur?
It was back when I was in like 4th, 5th grade, and there was a girl that, I had a crush on, and she was part of like the popular clique, and, I was kind of like, I guess in between that, and yeah, she wasn't really into me. So, it kind of just set me back and put me back into myself and really made me focus on that. So that's where all that, patterns of bouncing around kind of set about.
Yeah, and then you had it happen in college again. You mentioned it. This was the scene. We went back, and I do this process called the overview method, which gets you connected with some of the feelings and the emotions and the triggers that are happening in your current stress right now. So consider if you're going through a stressful scenario, if you're having a challenge in your relationship right now, which could be translating into challenges with your health, with your finances, with your career, anything. It's a trigger for a past remembered unresolved event. So what we did with Billy, we went back to this event where it all kind of began, and it came up where he was, in early 20s, and he got rejected by his girlfriend at the time, who went back to her old boyfriend, like literally the next day after they broke up. Yep. And then that evoked these certain feelings of resentment and anger and all of that stuff. But what did you discover? What did you discover by her doing what she did? Gave you permission to do what?
It gave me permission to be free, be myself, and be back in doing and being exactly who I wanted to be. So, I chose at the time to be in that relationship for longer than I would like to have. But in reality, it made me realize who I am and what I want to be and do. And, the biggest thing is it gave me that I was able to look inside myself as a source of power and really follow my feelings and use those as an insight and a guide to my world.
Which was the gift. That was the gift that came out of shifting your perception about what happened. But what you did was you started to fall into these behavioral patterns of sabotage. And this is why it's interesting for the viewer, because if you're listening and you're in a relationship right now and you're feeling like, this isn't, the right time, or you're now feeling stuck within the relationship, you will start to notice these patterns. I know this is so true within myself. Anything unresolved is messing with your shit to be able to have a fulfilling relationship. And so your desire at this time is to actually clear that and heal from that. Yeah. So we have to go back and take that perception of the pain of the breakup back in college and transform that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you learn? I mean, what's been the pattern then for you? What's been your pattern then that you've always kind of migrated to and gone back to ever since then?
Ever since college?
Yeah.
Yeah, just I would start, relationships, and they'd be great for the first 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And as soon as as soon as you find like that moment of incongruency, or like where it's like, something happened where it's like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, whether it is or not, I automatically jump straight back to the sabotage, and I would, maybe like, text other girls, or I would do stuff that would provoke sabotage in the relationship. And so, you know, through that would just bounce me out of the relationship rather than just being present and not letting past experience reflect to the future, which is the biggest thing that we do.
Yeah, totally. Past experience. So this is why it's so important to have this conversation, because this conversation not only is going on with you, I wanted to share this. This is a client type of relationship that I'm having with you, but Billy was so kind enough that he wanted to share his truth, his story with you, because it's my goal to create a ripple effect of expanding consciousness. So if this can get out, I want you to share this with somebody that you know is really challenged by this, because we're trying to create a completely new reality for you. What's the new reality that will open up by you getting real and authentic about this one?
The new reality is basically to make potential that I could have a relationship longer than that I don't have to tell that same story, and that I don't have to reflect my past all the time in relationships to make me become unpresent.
100%, baby. Thank you.
And you're welcome.
That probability, that possibility, that reality can only be created once you do what?
You have to clear the past and all your resentments, and you have to do the work and be willing to, you know, own your own shit.
Yeah.
In order to get past it, because everything you're experiencing is all your own stuff. It's all your perceptions, and you know, you make up these stories and those become your reality.
Yep. It's about getting real. So I'd like to invite you to continue this conversation. Join us in my Facebook group. It's called it's called The Art of Powerful Alignment. I'm going to write it down here, of powerful alignment. It's right on Facebook. Just go ahead and join my group and continue that. We're going to continue this conversation, by the way, all throughout on this thread. What's been your experience with relationships? When have you sabotaged? What past triggered events have you not really gotten through? And those of you who are actually ready, who are sick and tired of actually feeling this, I encourage you to reach out to me, to apply if you want to work with me. And I mean, what's been your experience, Billy, over the past few months in your transformation from where you were to where you are now, as far as where your power and your freedom is?
Man, it's been monumental. Where I started, I was like, you know, so turned inward. I didn't have my power. I let it get washed away. And just as an example, you know, at the time, my girlfriend was complaining about how I wasn't being a leader, and, you know, I wasn't being a person who she thought I was. And, you know, I was doing all these things, the sabotage things. And over the last, you know, month and a half or so, you know, I really started really clearing this stuff with Nima and Amanda, my awesome coach, and then, you know, doing the work and following the plans and stepping into that. And then on Valentine's Day, you know, she acknowledged me out of the clear blue for stepping into who she thought I was, and being a leader and showing up and being present and having everybody's, you know, best interests at heart. So
beautiful.
It's been awesome.
It's just been a few months ago that you were actually in a point where you were like, I don't know if I'm ready to bail on this. Right. And so as we do the work, as we clear this stuff up, you just become more powerful. It's you know, it's just an incredible transformation to see you doing the fucking work and owning your shit. And like, could you ever imagine, like, when we began this process, this journey, you're working as a nutritionist who's a holistic health practitioner. You were totally out of your power. You couldn't step up to even speak up. And now, did you ever imagine that within a couple of months, you would be on a public forum, freaking whipping it out and showing your privates to everybody in such a personal thing, and everybody can 100% feel your genuineness, 100% can feel your heart is open, and you feel like, this is my vulnerability here. I'm lifting my sweater, showing you all of my muffin top, which you don't have, by the way.
No, I don't.
No. So it's just, it's an incredible transformation to watch. And I wanted to acknowledge you for the work that you've done, because I'm not your, I always say I'm not your savior. I'm basically going to help lead you into your truth. And so
Right.
you're just powerfully exhibiting your truth. And I'm just going to encourage you to keep going. Is there anything that you'd like to say to anybody who's kind of sitting on the fence, who really feels that they're stuck, whether it's a relationship issue or they're feeling like an anxiety, they're feeling depressed, they're feeling stressed, depressed, and anxious, and they just have lost their power? What would you say to them?
I mean, I just, being powerfully aligned is the place to be. And, it's not easy. It's not comfortable at first, but as you start to do it more and more, everything starts to just kind of wash away. Things start to be more comfortable. And now I'm like looking in parts of my life, like with, my clients, my patients, my family, everywhere, that I have these like ridiculous thoughts. And I'm just like, okay, well, where can I become more integrity with them? And I just call myself out on the issue, whether it's uncomfortable or not, but that frees up and creates the ability to have a future of something new, rather than me projecting my past continually, which is what I wasn't accepting anymore, which is why I found it so pertinent to be with you.
God bless you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you immensely. And if anybody has any questions, reach out. We have the conversation. You will be glad you did. You will have a breakthrough in our conversation. My goal is, I don't invite everybody into the program. I have a conversation with you. My job is to help you create a breakthrough in an area of your life that's giving you stress, causing depression, anxiety. Reach out to me. I'd love to help, but definitely join the Art of Powerful Alignment group. And I'd love to, have a conversation. Let's continue this incredible conversation, because who can't relate to the truth that was just laid down by Billy Lutz? Oh my God!
Let's go.
God bless you, brother. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you at the next.
Thank you.
Time.